right back, Charlie.
People deluded, I'm back again.
Come on, Ian, man. Come on. Are we live? Of course we're live. Special guest settings. I've got Egal in the building. We've been trying to get this done. We finally got it done. Hope you're all doing well and safe. We say, my boy, you good?
I'm good, man. Yo, by the way, I've been watching you since you've been doing it on your little phone back in the day, like 7 years ago.
Yeah, I remember when I met you at, what was it? After, I can't remember the match, but it was after the match and we was all waiting to do our AFTV thing.
Bro, I used to be in Toronto working, like doing my regular job, and I'll be watching your videos in between, keeping me posted. So thank you for having me on. Long time coming, honestly. It's been forever. Haven't been able to come on, but yeah, man, happy to be here, man. Appreciate it.
One love for your kind words, and like you said, man, it's been a long time coming, man. I mean, you're one of the Arsenal fans that's always in the trenches on social media. You're never shy to hide your opinions. What I like about you is, if you're wrong, you hold your hands up and say, you know what, I got that one wrong. It is what it is. So it's been one that's needed to happen, man. The first thing I want to kick this off with, I've obviously got things in front of me that I want to ask you. How do you actually feel about Arsenal so far this season? We've been described as inevitable, as ruthless, as mentality monsters. Where's your head at in that regards?
On one aspect, I feel like we left some points on the table. Before I get into all the positives, the Brighton game, we should have won that game. We should have won that game. We should have never gone down to 10 men. We should have never got Declan Rice sent off. And you know what? That was silly points dropped. But overall, I feel like the rest of the performances throughout the season, I'm relatively happy with it. I'm happy with the fact that we're finding ways to grind out performances. I'm happy that we're finding out ways to continue to pick up points even with adversity, red cards, players being sent off like Declan Rice, Trossard, having to play with 10 men twice. In addition to that, going away to City, going away to Aston Villa, going away to Tottenham. It is underrated how well we've been doing compared to the adversity we've had to face. I don't think half the league has had to face the level of adversity we've had to face. But hey, that's me. That's coming from an Arsenal fan. Maybe everybody else will say that. Maybe everyone else will talk shit about our season, but to me, I'm relatively content. It would be the word. I'm not saying it's amazing, and I'm not saying it's terrible, but that's the levels we're at now, bro. Remember, a couple years ago, we couldn't buy a win to start the season. So I'm just overall happy with the start to the season.
Do you think there's a conspiracy against Arsenal? Because you kind of alluded to it. Like, some would say maybe you're right, maybe you're wrong. It feels like, there's a lot of decisions that go against us. But where are you at with that?
Are we talking about the referees? Are we talking about the media?
Everything, man. Everything. Everything. Leave nothing on the table. Everything.
Bro, I am Mr. Conspiracy Theorist. So you've come to the right guy. First things first. The referees, there's an agenda from the media to protect the referees at all costs, no matter what level of the decision. So, for example, Dermot Gallagher on Sky Sports will come out and say verbatim that was the right decision for Declan Rice to get sent off. In the same breath, 7 years ago, you see in the video, he'll say it was never a red card. It was the right decision that the referee used his common sense to not send off a player in that incident because he did not mean to cause any disruption to the game. Same situation. Now you see Leandro Trossard. Why is it two people got second yellows this season and got sent off, and they're both Arsenal players? It hasn't happened in any other game. Szoboszlai could have happened too. We've seen it happen in other games also. Tottenham were playing against Brighton recently. It could have happened in that game. It doesn't happen. Is it a coincidence, or are they trying to make a statement out of Arsenal? Are they trying to make a statement out of us? I went through all the red cards that we've gotten throughout our tenure under Mikel Arteta. The two that we've gotten recently are the harshest, I would say. That and maybe the one against Wolves, against David Luiz. But we're not really going all the way back there. But yeah,
2
referees.
yellow cards against Martinelli come to mind a few years ago as well, man, if I remember correctly.
The thing is, in what world have we ever seen a player get 2 yellow cards in the same phase of play? That was mental. You're right. But in the same breath, they're both yellow card fouls. I'm not going to complain too much.
Do you think they're wrong? Do you think they were the wrong decisions though, where you look at Declan Rice and Trossard? Because I do think the ref, on one hand, I think the ref has to have common sense. I think he has to, you know, I do think it goes a different way in another game. But on the other hand, if rules are rules, and for argument's sake, you know, Declan Rice has stopped the ball, even though the ball's in play, or Trossard's booted the ball, is that the wrong decision, as harsh as it might be?
It is, specifically based on the similar referees not giving Kovacic a yellow card based on trying to keep the game and the balance of the game going.
That's true.
They didn't want to give it to him before. All of a sudden, now that it's going towards us, they're quick to give it. I think when you are a title winner consistently, like Man City are, you do get more favorable calls going your way. We don't necessarily see Man City get calls against them. Where Arsenal, we're watching it with such a microscope that probably we can name more moments where we get the run of the green also, like the handball to Odegaard at the Liverpool game. But how many times have we seen Man City get punished from a poor refereeing decision? I can't name one. And it's not a coincidence. There has to be more to it. And this is where I don't want to get the channel in trouble or anything, but you've seen the videos of...
Talk, man.
You've seen the videos of the guys in Dubai talking about, not in Dubai, in Abu Dhabi, going to Abu Dhabi to go referee over there and paying them. And coincidentally, it's the same people who run Man City. It's like, how is that allowed? How are Premier League referees allowed to go get paid by other owners of teams in the Premier League to go referee in other places? Like, imagine if Arsenal took a Premier League referee and paid for them to go to America and referee a friendly game over there. They'd be like, yo, these guys are going to be favorable to you because you're paying them their money. You're giving them extra money. And if that kind of shit's happening, I just question the integrity of some of these referees. And are they maybe it's unintentional favoritism? Because you've seen that before. Be it your siblings, be it your friends, unintentional favoritism in a situation where they might be wrong. You just give them the benefit of the doubt.
I don't think you're wrong in that regards, man. And that's my biggest issue with the referees, is like we look at them almost as biblical oracles that can never do any wrong, and you know their shit doesn't stink. Where they're human, just like me, you, and everybody listening. They're human like us. They're subject to conscious and unconscious bias. Now, we're of a similar age. Exactly. Like you've seen us kind of be looked at as a soft touch. That's resulted in several players during the early Emirates era break their arms and legs and all different kinds of things.
What do they say?
And now, exactly. They said we just like to complain and do all of these things. Now that we've kind of taken it upon ourselves to find justice, people have issues that, you know, the dark arts have always been there. They were praised under Jose, Conte, Sir Alex Ferguson, etc. The minute we start doing it, everything is under the microscope. And obviously, when you kind of get into the media now, if you say a lie enough times, it starts to become the truth. Now, I think a big reason as to why...
Can I mention the media, bro? They piss me off more than anything.
Go ahead.
They right there have a vested interest in us being terrible. Bro, they have a vested interest in us being a laughingstock. They have an invested interest in us not winning any major honors. If we win something, they know the same way they flip the switch with Liverpool, they're going to have to do that with Arsenal. They're going to have to find somebody else to make clicks off of, somebody else to banter, somebody else to belittle, somebody else to insult or continuously bring down. And if Arsenal have silverware and Arsenal are continuously winning silverware, be it the FA Cup, you know what happens? It gets belittled. You can't belittle the Premier League. If we win the Premier League, they will no longer be able to belittle anything we do. If we win the Champions League, they will no longer be able to criticize us. We need to go and do that. Until we do that, we're going to get a level of blame, and we have to continue to take it on the chin. But, bro, the media have a vested interest in us losing, and they're the same people who are telling us how to play. They're the same people who are telling us how to celebrate. They're the same people who are telling us how to walk off the pitch after you get a red card. Like, it's ridiculous. Go back to a Celebration FC when a couple of years ago.
Yeah,
bro, it's mad.
And that's what annoys me. It's the lack of consistency. Now, I do think as Arsenal fans, that goes for you, that goes for me, that goes for everybody listening. A bit like in society, it's not right, but we have to learn how to ignore it. Kind of touching on the point you said, you know, Arsenal fans, I genuinely think Arsenal is social media. We keep the bill, we pay people's bills. You say anything about Arsenal, it gets engagement, it gets clicks, whether we've been good like we've been in the last 3 years, or when, you know, the trenches, as I would describe it. So that's an issue. But I do want to ask you, and obviously I don't expect you to answer because it's deeper than both of us, but why do you think then we're treated like this? Like, why is it then? Like, why is it like, has someone peed off the wrong person?
It started under George Graham. They always hated us. And he said it. Under Arsene Wenger, we fielded a full black squad from that day.
And a bunch of foreign players as well.
Yeah, foreign manager. We let's be honest. Arsenal is one of the main clubs of history, and people constantly say Arsenal, you guys victim blame, but when you really deep it and you really look at the crux of things, the Premier League clubs were banned from Europe at a time when Arsenal were the best. Every other team had their chance in Europe. Our time when we were good in Europe, we were banned. We weren't able to compete. We could have had a Champions League if it wasn't for the English ban at that time. That's one thing. And people constantly criticize us for our European record. We were never the troublemakers in Europe. We were never the troublemakers in England. We were never the ones we were always a classy club. But the criticism at Arsenal always comes from our fans being annoying, our fans being this, our fans being that. What is wrong with our fan base? When you really think about it, we just have a large fan base who a lot of other fan bases are close facility to, and hence they're annoyed by us. And if you go to the actual crux of why people don't like Arsenal and why the media don't like Arsenal, it is because we have a large fan base, we're located in London, and it's easy access to criticize us, and we will bite. Liverpool, they don't bite. Chelsea, not big enough. Man City, Tottenham, not big enough. It's only really Arsenal and Man United who bite. And Man United, we're winning more than us. So we're always going to get criticized. And we're the third biggest club for a reason. And unfortunately, some people forgot about that. It's been 20 years, bro.
So, I want to ask you about the ownership of this football club. How do you feel about the Cronkies? Because it's fair to say, while we still ain't won a trophy or anything like that, you know, I think they're doing their job, if I'm honest with you. But how do you feel?
I think the Cronkies made a massive switch. The moment they took full ownership, they said, we are no longer going to hold this club back. We're going to push in money when it needs be. We're going to help you guys when you need to, but we're giving you guys the keys to make sure you make the right decisions. The first person they gave the keys to was Raul Sanelli. He kind of started spending wild. They brought in Tim Lewis to oversee things, and he's kind of like their in-house manager when it comes to the funds. But
yeah, eyes and ears, essentially.
But overall, they've made a massive shift. They went from an ownership group who didn't care about winning to caring about winning across the board. They won in the NFL. They won in the MLB, not the NHL. They won in lacrosse. They won in the NBA. They've won in 4 different domestic. They've won in 4 different leagues over there in America. And over here at Arsenal, they're showing the ambition to try to continue winning. And the way they did it in some of those places, they were smart. They used the Moneyball effect. And in some of the places, they just went through cash at it. So I don't think for one second that if we are touching distance like we are right now, that they won't continue to invest to try to keep this thing going. I don't think they're going to neglect us like Liverpool's owners did. And I don't think we have bad owners. I think we have one of the best owners in the 2010s, in the 2020s. They've been one of the best ownership groups in North America. They just haven't done it yet in football. And once we do it, people are going to stop criticizing the Cronkies. Because to me, the reason why we haven't gone over the line the last 2 years was not the Cronkies' fault. It's because we maybe just didn't go and get that one extra player, that second extra player. And I would put that down to Edu and the people in the recruitment not getting that extra piece to the puzzle. I don't blame the Cronkies. I think the Cronky out movement died the moment they showed that they were serious, and that was the season when we got Odegaard, Ramsdale, and everybody else, and we started spending big again.
I hear that. You mentioned that you can't blame the Cronkies. Could you argue, though, that last summer or the summer that's just gone, obviously many people were looking at it, and we did bring in players. You could have made a case for an Isaac, or let's just say striker, a winger, and anything else. And then you look at the window, it didn't really end the way we wanted it to end, you know, scrambling around on deadline day for Neto and Raheem Sterling. So it's like, do you truly believe that they have that ambition to want Arsenal to be at the pinnacle of club football, essentially?
Let me ask you this. I'm going to answer your question with a question. It's not political, but just
go ahead, man. Sounds kind of political, bro, but go ahead, man.
If Nico Williams said, I wanted to come to Arsenal, you don't think we would have got it over the line?
Yes and no. Yes and no. I think
yeah,
if he genuinely wanted to answer your question, yeah, 100% you could sign the player.
That's why I believe the Cronkies were not holding us back. I think the money was there. Just the profile of player that we wanted was not there. We didn't want to go and push out big bucks for somebody who we're not 100% sure on. For example, the club really looked at themselves and said to themselves, what are they doing? After the Mudryk situation went wrong at Chelsea, they're looking at themselves and they're like, yo, that could have been us. And they're like, we don't want to just go and spend on anybody. We want to spend on the right people. So that's probably why they're not going and spending big on a Victor Gyökeres or Victor Osimhen or what do you call it, somebody else right now. And they're trying to go for either bargains like a Sesko or sure things like we've done in the past, like Declan Rice. Havertz was a gamble, but you want to know something? He played in the league and the manager seen something that we didn't see. Sometimes I trust Mikel Arteta in the recruitment to a certain degree. I just don't think Raheem Sterling was ever their first choice. It's just their first choice never wanted to come. Nico Williams was their number one choice.
But then again, then I look at it, okay, I hear that. If Nico Williams was your first choice, that makes 100% sense. Also, it makes sense that if you can't go and get him, don't just sign anybody for the sake of it. We've seen that before. But to me, it looked like, his heart is set on staying in Spain, whether that's on Bilbao or Barcelona. It was shades of the Rafinha thing when Rafinha was at Leeds and we're evidently being told that we're his third choice. Now, obviously, neither you, we're not on the transfer front. We don't know what's been said. We don't know if there's encouragement. I'm just a football fan. You know, I'll pat the club on the back for trying to get these signings, a bit like trying to win a Prem. But if you fail to do that, then there has to be question marks. And it is a bit of a pet peeve. As much as I understand, you know, don't just sign players for no reason and things like that. I must admit, I don't think we're Manchester City, nor do I think we're Real Madrid. And what I mean by that is a sense of, we always hear rhetoric like it has to be the right player. It's the right player. And I get it, because you know, kind of what you alluded to with Declan Rice, you know, the last 2-3 years, our success ratio where the signings have been great. But why does it always feel like there's some mysterious football player? Like, surely there's a pull of players, whether it's, you know, you're scouting for some or you're pushing the ball out on household names. Why does it always feel that it's a mysterious kind of unknown entity that we need to sign?
Because I think the club does not allow our transfer targets to actually get exposed. Half of the stuff that we hear,
that's a good point,
is media speculation. The player who we genuinely want, we keep close to our chest until it's time that we actually want to progress that deal. So, for example, you will hear numerous different rumors. There might be truth to everything, but the person who we have number one on our list, you won't know, and nobody will know unless we actually go full swing for that player. And also, in the case that we get rejected or it doesn't happen, we have plausible deniability, as if it's like a court case or something.
I was just about to say, you're coming like you're getting caught,
because the fans, let's be honest, you never want to get rejected, and as a club, you don't want to look on. You don't want other people to show that your project is not ambitious, or people.
You don't want egg on your face.
Yeah, so you're always trying to cover yourself. I think we went to Rafinha at Barcelona. We sniffed it out, couldn't really get something done because they wanted too much money for that. I think we went to Nico Williams, couldn't get it done because the player didn't want to go. I think we went to Leroy Sané, or
the mystery German stuff.
I think we went to Bayern to see what they're saying, and they probably wanted too much money or something like that. I think there was a couple of free agents we looked at, but we said there's the reason why these guys are free agents and we're not interested in them. You know what I mean? And then the final thing is, could we have pulled off Anthony Gordon or somebody in the Premier League already last minute? And I just don't think the money.
Unless you're putting down serious cash, it's gone.
Yeah.
It's gone. You have to do that early summer weeks, in my opinion.
And the Euros, it didn't hurt us the way that we think. It was an excuse. They used it as an excuse. The club used it to their benefit. And the way I know this is because when you hear David Ornstein come out with, "Oh, the Euros is why they didn't do it," it's bullshit.
Everyone had to contest with the Euros, man.
Yeah, you can't lie to us and tell us, "Oh, you couldn't get the deals done because of the Euros," Well, half the players you wanted were not at the Euros. So it's not really
True.
that. But hey, unfortunate, man. Isaac was the guy we missed out on. Bruno
I would
Gamar
have
is the
loved
guy
it, man. That's the one.
Bruno Gamar is another guy we missed out on. But maybe it's for the best, because if we would have signed Bruno Gamars, who knows if we would have gotten to the Champions League a year too early and never challenged and never got ourselves ready to be at this level.
I think you got a point there, man. I think for me, I'm more than happy to. Well, let me rephrase that. No, but like you said, nobody wants to get rejected. No one wants to get turfed. But as much as I want my club to be like Real Madrid and all them kind of things one day, we're not Real Madrid in it. Players say no. My thing is the solutions, which takes me back to the summer. I'm not against the summer because on one hand, I think we did bring experience. I do think we addressed it, some decent, some areas that needed addressing. We'll get onto him, but I think Calafiori's been good. Sterling at worst, he's only here for a year. Yes, I would have wanted a more long-term solution. Or as you said earlier, when you go from Nico Williams to Raheem Sterling, who's down on his luck, it does feel like quite the downgrade. But for me, it does feel like last summer was a missed opportunity. Of course, as football fans, we think it's FIFA and you can buy these players and do it how we want it to do. But what's your thoughts? Do you think last summer was a missed opportunity? Because, we've had 2 cracks at trying to win the league. Everybody could see potentially a striker, a blockbuster winger on top of anything else Mikel Arteta wants. It could be great. And also, low-key, we kind of made a mess of the goalkeeper situation as well, man. But where are you at with that?
The goalkeeper situation has taught the club not to do that again.
Hope so.
They definitely made a mess with it. And the reason why I know that has taught them is because immediately they sent Fabio Vieira out on loan. And they're like, yo, he's not getting game time. We're gonna depreciate the asset. Get him out of here. One of your favorites, Emil Smith Rowe. He's gone also.
Don't remind me, man.
Right? Eddie Nketiah out the door.
That was a good deal.
Reece Nelson out the door the moment we bring in Raheem Sterling. It's not a coincidence. They've learned from that mistake, and it's 100% is a mistake. But one thing I will say is everyone from the back room to the manager have been learning to an extent on the job for the past 3 to 4 years.
No, double down on that. You're bang on the money. Everybody, I'd extend that to the players. Everybody, even down to Josh Kroenke and Stan, really, because
I expect them to make mistakes.
They have to make mistakes.
I don't accept the fact that you can continue to make those mistakes, but I expect them to make some level of mistakes. And as fans, I'm not going to get mad at every single mistake or every single issue. Bro, we bottled the league twice. I'm not sitting here saying I'm pissed off that we bottled the league twice. I'm saying we better not do it again.
We'll get onto the league chat, my boy. Trust me, we've got a lot to continue, man. We've got a lot to speak on, but that is a big thing. Like, I think evidently, I honestly feel I believe what I'm about to say and don't believe it. I actually genuinely feel the club, obviously, everything is a process of good habits day to day. We've changed the club. We'll be here all day on and off the field. We've made good habits. And that's a coincidence of us doing the right things. We're now in title challenges. We've come a long way. As I said earlier, we're not in the trenches anymore. So I don't think it's a mistake. But I genuinely feel because we worked so hard and did all these things, I think in the club's mind, we've kind of accelerated or jumped a few levels sooner than we thought, if I'm honest with you, especially where it is fighting for this title. Which brings me to another question. It's like, where do you stand with Mikel Arteta if we don't win the Premier League this year? I know it's it's not an easy conversation, but it is one that is thrown around.
Give him a 4-year deal. I'm not sacking him. DG, if people want the manager sacked, there will have to be catastrophic mistakes, either us dropping to 3rd or and having a complete capitulation and not challenging for the league come the end of the season, or Liverpool somehow beating us to the league title. There is no way, if we lose this league by small margins once again to Man City, I'm saying sack Arteta. So what? So he can join Man City, and then we'll have to go and get a new manager.
Start the whole thing again.
And start the whole thing again, and we would have hand-delivered Man City their next successor to Pep. And he's going to then be beating us to league titles. No, it don't make sense. We have one of the most stable situations in Europe right now. Mikel Arteta is a top manager. He is actually highly rated. And the day that he's gone from Arsenal, Bayern Munich, PSG, Barcelona,
everyone in Europe will ask about him.
Everybody's coming for him. So don't act like we don't have one of the best managers. And what he's done, and what he's done at Arsenal to get us from where we are to being where we are at right now, where we played PSG last week, bro. It was easy. It was comfortable.
They got boxed.
And we're the bullies now in Europe against some of these teams. And I'm not
Oh,
worried.
steady, Egal. You really think we're the bullies? You already?
No.
I don't know. I don't know. I don't know about
They
that.
came to our house. They came to our house. We made them look inferior. That hasn't happened
What about
before.
when we go away from home against these kind of teams, man? We got Inter. If we go through to the next round, you got the Barca's and Madrid. Steady, man. Steady.
Inter's our toughest opponent we're gonna face in the league phase. I'm excited to see how that goes, but I'm not saying we're gonna go and slap up everybody. I'm just simply saying in that game we scored 2 goals and we bullied them around.
Yeah, you're right. It was light work. Like they even shocked me. I'm not gonna say they shocked me because I'm a bit weird. Like in the Premier League, I prefer to play away from home than at the Emirates. I think there's just less drama. But you saw the City game. I just think we're a bit more professional away from home. In the Champions League, it's the away games that make me a bit nervous. I reckon we can give anybody a game at our place, which we did. So I think you're bang on the money. And for me, kind of piggy banking off what you said, the thing that I like the most about the PSG game is like we look like it. One, it was business as usual. Two, we look like we belonged here. Now it's very different when we get to the latter stages and all the mental stuff starts to play a part, but it looked like we belong here. Now, granted, it's not the PSG where you've got the Neymars and Messis and Mbappes, but that's got F all to do with us. We can only play with what's in front of us. And I think personally, I don't know for maths, but I felt we needed to win that PSG game purely because, 1 to 2 points from 2 games for me in that Champions League group stage, it starts to get a bit techie if I'm honest with you. So you're right. How far do you think we can go in the champs though?
Semi-finals, probably. I still don't think we're gonna go and win it, but you need a level of luck. We've seen Chelsea win it twice with a level of luck. If we were to win the Champions League with Mikel Arteta before the league, he deserves a statue. Like, no joke, bro. Man delivers the Champions League as his first major trophy. He deserves a statue. I was saying, but outside of the league, I don't really think the Champions League is the goal this season. Get as far as you can. Try to win every game. That's the goal, obviously. Try to win every game as you go along on your journey. But if we lose to Real Madrid or Man City in the semifinals, I think that's understandable.
Depending on how it goes, you can just put your hands up and it is what it is.
We just don't want to be embarrassed like we were in the past. And I don't think under this team, the way that we played defensively in this manager, I don't think we're ever going to be in a situation where we get embarrassed. We've seen us go down to 10 men versus Man City away and almost win the goddamn game. So I like the fact that Arteta's more George Graham than Arsene Wenger. He's more Simeone and Pep than he's more Simeone and Jose than he is Pep. He has that defensive edge to him.
I think he's a hybrid, man. I think what people forget with Mikel Arteta is, he come through La Masia and he's, he's played for PSG and he's played for Arsenal under Wenger. He's learnt from Pep. I think what people forget, this man was at Everton under David Moyes. With the greatest of respect to Everton, they were on the back foot. Like what Mikel Arteta has is a personal experience about winning duels and all of that. You add in the fact that, let's be honest, he is an effing freak. He's a madman. Like he leaves nothing to chance. I think people focus on what's going on the ball. It's about how he sets us up off it. He almost premeditates what's going on. He surrounded himself with some great coaching staff that are all young and developing and things like that. I can't sing Mikel Arteta's praises enough, but as much as I like the guy, I am an Arsenal fan first. And I do want to, before I forget, I want to kind of go back to what we said, Obviously, I agree with you. Context is key. Obviously, if we don't win the league title, worst case scenario, and we've fallen out, we're not good defensively, crazy things have happened, then we're going to have to review it. But if it's similar to the last 2 years where you're quite close, but you're far, I think I'd persist with him. But I do think every year that happens, conversations have to be had. So I want to ask you, how long can it be acceptable Mikel Arteta kind of being the nearly man? Let's just say this season, boom, we finish second again. Next year, we finish second again. When do you look at, okay, Arteta, one love for the rebuild and what you're doing, but in the case of getting over the line, you might not be the guy?
Brother, at this moment in time, I don't think Arteta is going to get sacked. I think
he decided a new deal, to be fair.
I don't think it's a situation where they would just be like, they cut ties with him. I think it would be a situation where he has another job lined up. If his attention and focus in this job is gone, it would be due to a lack of investment and keeping guys like Saliba, keeping guys like Odegaard. If some of these guys start leaving and their attention goes elsewhere, that's when he would go. I think we would lose some of our players and the manager before it ever got to a situation where the manager and the team blow up. Because let's be honest, Manchester United are a mess. Tottenham are a mess. Liverpool look like they're potentially going to lose Mo Salah, Van Dijk, and Trent. Pep could be going for Man City. Bro, we could potentially be starting a dynasty. Like, I don't want to hype it up too much, but really and truly, it looks like it's between us and maybe if Chelsea fast-track their development to catch up to us in the next couple of years. It could literally be a two-horse race for the title for the next foreseeable future. And
that's what I wanted to ask you as well, man, because obviously I see you work on the other socials.
So why are we always talking about the negatives? I'm just thinking, like, who's stopping us if we continue to develop at this stage?
Ourselves.
We still don't have that striker that everyone's saying. We still don't have the bench, some people are saying. We're so close to being such a complete team. We could replace Man City in this league.
I don't know, bro. I don't know.
Look at the age of our players.
Yeah, bro, I agree with all of that. I feel
Gabriel Magalhaes, young. You got Timber, young. Calafiori, young. Ben White, young. Declan Rice is young. Martin Odegaard is still young. Saka, Martinelli. Bro, this team is built to be here for the next 5 to 6 years.
I therefore don't disagree, man. I think in terms of stability, I think that's one thing that where British fans or English football fans are concerned, don't really rate. I think the solution is always a manager don't work, go and find a new one. A player don't work, go and find a new one. You know, I don't think stability and improving what you have. You know, there was a time when I'm sure you remember a lot of Arsenal fans didn't really care for Martin Odegaard. It's fair to say that that one worked. Kai Havertz, nobody cares about his price tag, and I think every non-biased Arsenal fan loves him. And you mentioned a bunch of players. So in the topic of stability, I do think we're set up for great stuff. I just think it's now about getting to the next level. Where I'm looking at it is like I still think City will be there. I don't think they'll have a generational coach like Pep. I actually think Chelsea are coming back sooner rather than later. As you rightly said, Man United are a mess. Spurs, I'm not taking seriously at all. So it's like that's why I said I think the only thing that can stop us is ourselves. It's how much do you want it? Now I know Arteta and the players want it. I know it's not FIFA where you can just spend 300 million on all of these kind of players. But this is where I want us to take our advantage. You know, as Richard said, you know, crossing hurdles when we get there. I don't know what the next 3-4 years are gonna say, but we are decent at this moment in time. Can we get something over the line?
Bro,
we're decent, man. Overly decent. We're a very good footballing team. Don't get it twisted, but it's a big
to everyone else. We're not decent, bro.
We're a decent team, man. I think we can go. I think we can go up the gears, man. We got to keep working hard. We just got to keep doing our thing. We're decent. We're definitely one of the best teams in European football, and I would go as far as to say we're the second best in the Premier League. You know, all the things reflect that. I always used to say in my early days of YouTube, it's not always about where you are at your best; it's where you are at your worst. And when things go wrong, as you said earlier, when there's red cards, when you know we haven't been quite at the buffers, there's something. And for me, the most important thing is how inspired these players are. They get it. These are things that should be done anyways, as watching football, professional footballers play for a club. But now there's pride in the shirt. Would you rather the Prem or the Champs, though? Like, offer you both. Which one you going with?
Bring me a Champions League right now. That's
just
me.
I knew I like this guy, you know.
So much trolling, because bro, my life right now, half of the trolling that I get is because of the Champions League.
Yeah, we ain't got it. We've been to the same amount of finals as Spurs.
And you know what comes with the Champions League? They fucking ruined the Club World Cup. The Club World Cup was an easy trophy to win. Call it as it is. Chelsea won it off the back of 2 penalty wins. Like,
why can't we win it like that, man? I will take winning
now
in any given circumstance.
The Club World Cup. They've reformatted the Club World Cup. They've turned it into this big thing. You can no longer win it the way we won it. I mean, the way these other guys won it. So it used to be the Club World Cup, the Super Cup, and the Champions League. You basically bank 3 trophies and you complete football. But now, if we win the Club World Cup, if we win the Champions League, we probably win the Super Cup, right? Depending on who the Europa League winner is.
Take time.
And then you complete football. So it's not, do you want the Premier League? It's, do you want the Champions League and an opportunity to complete football, or do you want another Premier League? That's the way I view it.
I think, you know, for me, I'd describe the champion. Nothing's impossible, but I would say the Champions League is impossible. I think at best the Prem is improbable. I think we, you know, we're playing a juggernaut in Man City. I think we can give it a real go.
We're winning it this year, man.
Now, talk up. We
Do you
can't hear
want me
you.
to start with Man City and Liverpool first, or do you want me to start with Arsenal? Like, which side? Because from our side, we haven't even gotten to our best yet.
True.
We literally
So
just
you
started.
genuinely believe 100% we're winning the Premier League? Because I
Well,
wanted to get onto this because I did see your content on other platforms where I wouldn't say you dismissed Liverpool, but you basically dismissed them and said it's us versus City once again for this trophy.
yeah, it's us versus City. The title of the video is the title of the video for a reason. It's only
Mind
Arsenal.
games.
It's only Arsenal and City in this title race. Liverpool look good right now, but we've seen it before. New manager comes in, new tactics, new takes a little bit of time for people to figure them out, and slowly but surely you start finding them out, hitting them with those tactics, and they need to find a way to revamp their style mid-season. And it can take a little bit of time with the new manager trying to figure out how to adapt mid-season. Also, Arne Slot. Are we saying all of a sudden Arne Slot is better than Jurgen Klopp coming into this Liverpool team with the exact same team, able to go on and win the league with them? I don't think so. I think the players are a little bit older. They don't have the cover in many different positions. Alisson, luckily, they have good cover for Alisson, but Konate or Van Dijk get injured for an extended period. They're kind of screwed. Sorry, bro. 1 second. Let me take a
Minor. Take your time, man. Take your time, man. People, don't forget to subscribe to Egal's platform. Don't forget to smash the like button. We will get into a couple of comments that we've seen. Keep your comments and questions going, man.
I'm also 14 subscribers away from 30K, bro. Crazy time.
Did you say 14?
14.
Smash the subscribe button, people. That's 14. That's a match day squad of you lot. Go and get the man, the milestone, man. Come on, people. What's going on? But yeah, go on, man. Before you took your glass of water, you were saying something.
Yeah, man, my kid got me sick. But yeah, what do you call it? So yeah, going back to Liverpool. The reason why I don't think Liverpool are going to win it: one, new manager. It takes time for that manager to get themselves going. They're playing well right now, but once they get found out, will they take a dip? How will they handle adversity? We don't know yet. Number two, I don't think Liverpool squad is all that. I think Liverpool have some major holes in their squad. Outside of Mo Salah is out for an extended period. I think they'll struggle. I think Luis Diaz has raised his levels. Let's see if he can maintain it, because that's a big reason why they're performing so well right now. Ryan Gravenberch has become a revelation for them this season, and you got to give him credit.
Being quality, man.
Their midfield looks solid with him, but I think their Konate injury away or Van Dijk injury away from once again having extended dips in that defensive line.
Can you say that about us, though? Anything happens to Gabriel and Saliba, bearing in mind there's a bunch of injury concerns. Couldn't you say that about us? You take Saka out, Havertz stop scoring, Gabriel or Saliba get injured. Okay. Being devil's advocate, couldn't you caveat that with Arsenal?
How about this? Why can't we say that about Man City with Rodri out?
100% you can. Same goes for Kevin De Bruyne, big misses. But the difference is that they're City in it, really. But you're right.
That's what I'm saying.
So then how can you dismiss Liverpool then if everyone can be part of that?
Viewed a little different, but Martin Odegaard has been out for how long, and we've won majority of those games, and we've handled City away, Tottenham away. Like, we've handled some big games. Saka was out last year for the Man City game. We won that game at home.
Took him off at half time in the last City game as well, really.
I think people underestimate Mikel Arteta's ability to overcome these situations, where I'm not going to downplay other teams. I think they can find ways to get through, but I just question if Liverpool can really do it this year with everything else. I think come the end of the season,
they have got players who have done it as well, unlike us, like in an Arsenal shirt. Their Liverpool players have won Prems and champs and them things.
But we know categorically we are a better team than them right now. I think we play bad. I think they're playing well. They've had an easy schedule also, and once the fixtures swing, we're going to see what they're actually made of post international break. I think come now to the end of the season. I think come now to the end of the season, there's going to be a 10-point swing between Arsenal, Man City, Arsenal and Man City to Liverpool. So come the end of the season, when the season ends, there's going to probably be like 2.5 games difference between the us two and them.
Do you have more confidence in winning the league this year versus last year? Obviously, you know, we're only a couple games in. I'm happy you said that. Why?
The best player for City is out. Rodri, single-handedly, you take him out of Man City last year, we win the league. You take him out of Man City the year before, we win the league. And people are going to say, oh, but they have Gundogan, they have this guy, they have that guy.
They haven't got a direct Rodri replacement.
Their squad is aging, and the quality of the players that they've brought in are not better than the quality they had in the past. You can't tell me Doku's better than what they used to have. You can't tell me Savio is that
Careful,
much.
Perez might disagree with you with that one. Well, go on.
You can't tell me Savio is that much of an upgrade. Bernardo Silva looks good at times, but they've built the team around Erling Haaland, and without Rodri, Kevin De Bruyne there, you're asking a lot from Phil Foden. And I think last year when
did you say overrated or did you say Phil Foden? I don't know the name you said there, but
bro, I agree. I think Phil Foden wasn't deserving of player of the season last year. He should have gone.
He's a quality player, but he's the only quality player I know that's not held to quality player standards. But that's for another video.
That's 100%, bro. What he does for England, and you know what he is? He is a good player amongst a good team, but he's getting credited as if he is the engine room of that team, which he's not.
He's never had to roll his socks up, man. Like, you look at Cole Palmer playing for a shit Chelsea side, he made the difference. Saka now, thank the Lord, if Saka has an off day, there's other protagonists in our team. You know, I know, everybody in the chats knows there was once upon a time, if Saka dared to have a bad performance or anything less than a 5 or 6 out of 10 at left back, let alone right wing, we weren't getting anything out of the game. I think Foden is a generational talent. He's got all the ability in the world. He's a quality player, but I just think he's extremely overrated. Last season in the Prem, he was great, but he, as I said, he's the only player that I feel is talked about on this level and not held to this. Saka could score 2 goals. People talk nonsense. Cole Palmer, people diminish him to penalties. Foden is still treated like a 15, 16-year-old child, if I'm honest with you. Bearing in mind, he's a father of a couple kids now and he's 23. And for me, if you talk up someone, you have to do it and take nothing away from Foden. He's a quality player, as I said, but yeah, he sums up what's wrong with England. There's been 3 international tournaments now. He's been talked up to be the golden boy, and he's done effing nothing. You know, Cole Palmer has been on the peripheral things where England's concerned. He's significantly better than him in England shirts. Declan Rice has got more goals than him, really. It's absolutely shocking, if I'm honest. You are right, Rodri's is the engine room. Look, get your questions in.
He should. It's the English. It's the English hype. Bro, you said it a long time ago when we were talking back in the day when we were talking about players. They hyped them up, but this is one player that they haven't brought him back down to earth because Man City keep winning. And as long as Man City keep winning, they need to give somebody credit because they can't give it to John Stones. They can't give it to Kyle Walker. Who are they going to give it to?
And it goes back to what you said about the media, man. When you say enough things, like if me and you for no reason, and every Arsenal fan, just for argument's sake, just said, just kept saying and tweeting and saying it every day, Mikel Arteta is shit, it's going to start becoming a true opinion because everyone's saying it. And that's how I feel with Phil Foden. When everybody's waffling, like, obviously, you know, you're not English, so you might not, you know, necessarily care about the English national team. But before every tournament, you see the starting 11s, you know, the ex-pros come out. They all say Foden has to be there, move Saka left back, do this, do that for Phil Foden. And then what happens?
Foden's best position for England is to not be on the team because because
at this moment in time,
because he doesn't come on and make a difference. He doesn't start and make a difference. What does he bring to the table? He's a turn and shoot guy when you pass him the ball. Bro, you watch a lot more football than me, and you're probably more educated than me at describing things probably on a tactical level. What does he bring to the table that benefits a team when you don't have the quality around him?
This is the thing. Do you know what? I think something's missing from Foden. I think, you know, he's great in tight spaces. His movement's great. He's quite versatile. His technical level is quite great. Obviously, he's been playing for a number of years under Pep Guardiola. Tactically, he's great. I do think there is a bit of a tax you have to extend to all England players playing for Gareth Southgate historically. I don't think he's got heart. I think that's his biggest problem. I don't think he's got that dog in him. I don't think he's got that. I don't think he reacts to adversity in the same way Saka does. I don't think he wants it. Like, I think out of Saka, Palmer, and Foden, in terms of natural ability and whatnot, Foden's the best, but there's an ingredient missing. I don't think when the what's the saying? When the going gets tough, the tough get going. Yeah. I don't think Foden's ever had to do that in his life from a footballing point of view. And also that he has no authority. I don't think he has that. Like, I think he has more natural ability than Cole Palmer, but Cole Palmer's got that positive chip on his shoulder. You can see he wants to make the difference. You can see he gets it, which is quite shocking. And there is going to be a day where, as you kind of said, the City players, they're getting old and all of that. When you think of Man City, you're not going to think Bernardo Silva. I know he's the manager, but Pep Guardiola, you know, all of these guys. Phil Foden is going to have to be one of the first names. You are a player that we should be saying as English fans, we cannot operate without you. You're nowhere near England's England's most important player. You're not more important than Declan Rice. You're probably not putting better performances than Mark Gurhey at centre half in when he's been there. You've not done, you know, Trent looks like he's got a new lease of life at this moment. Saka is a non-starter. We don't need to get into that. Cole Palmer in the little minutes he's been exposed to. You could argue Jack Grealish, and people have a lot to say about Jude Bellingham. Jude Bellingham has pulled his socks up for this country. Phil Foden, unfortunately, hasn't. As you kind of said, he's a quality player. I'd take him at Arsenal, but he's just had that privilege of being surrounded by the best of the best, which is a bit jarring, really. People, keep your thoughts coming. Let's cover some things that people have said in the chat before I carry on, man. What signing should Arsenal go for in January? Realistically, let's be real. No one is spending 100 million. For me, I don't know, man. I don't know. I think we need to get a goalie or two in. I'd love a central midfielder. The Isaacs, the Seskos, Nico Williams, all of these guys that I would like. It's a non-starter for me, so I'm not sure. But where are you at, Egal? Is there anyone on?
I wouldn't be surprised if we don't get anything done in January for this summer. We might, if we get a deal done in January, it could be a pre-agreement for next year.
And that's the thing. I wanted to ask you as well, yeah, while we're covering this. What have you made of Thomas Partey's form? And would you give him a new deal?
They're not good, man. Sorry. My team in Toronto is terrible, I know.
What have you made of Thomas Partey's form? And would you give him a new deal?
Give him a new deal and then sell him to Saudi.
Do you really think that's feasible, dog? He's on like 200 grand a week. He's 31. I don't know, man. I think Arsenal will say, you know what?
Reduce his wages to 150 and keep him and let Jorginho leave. One or the other.
I don't know. Between Jorginho and Partey, I must admit, you said something good there. I don't know which one I'd let leave, you know. I think in terms of ability and what I want to see.
Neither have legs.
Huh?
Neither have legs.
And neither have legs. I'd rather want to keep Partey, but then you see what Jorginho's doing in a coaching front. We're not in the changing rooms, but you hear that his name kind of holds weight. I could see him kind of being on the peripheral, being an extension of the coaching stuff. So do you keep Jorginho or do you let them both go? And if you let them both go, are we really going to bring in two central midfielders? Because you'd have two central midfielders. You'd have Declan Rice. I'm definitely, you know, Kai Havertz on occasion has played there. You got to keep a pathway for Ethan. I can't see it. Mikel Moreno's still about. Almost forgot his name. So I think we need two central midfielders, though.
I have no faith in signing anybody in the January window. Who?
I don't think we will, unless it makes sense. Unless you could get a Trossard, Jorginho-esque kind of deal.
Well, you know what's going to happen? Man City's going to sign somebody to cover Rodri's position.
100%.
And everyone's going to be like, Arsenal has to retaliate by doing something. And it's going to be a whole situation where the summer transfer window, the January transfer window, is just going to become an opportunity for people to moan again. And I personally think the summer window is where you improve your team. The January window is where you paper over cracks.
It's a reactive window, January. You're bang on the money.
And we don't have too many cracks to really paper over. Like if we do sign somebody, it's going to be 15, 20 million max, and it's just going to be an extension of what we already have.
I think you're bang on the money. I think you're bang on, man. I mean, if there's a deal to be done, the club, obviously they didn't get Mudryk, but kind of what you're saying earlier, the club are prepared to flex their muscles if they see something. I think it would be a reactive window, kind of piggy banking of what you said. Nobody really wants to buy or sell in January because you would have done the business in the summer. You know, players want to leave because they're in bust-ups and whatnot. There's injuries, there's things of that ilk. I know people, you know, if January was tomorrow, you know, Thomas Partey, Jorginho, Jesus, Tomiyasu, Kivior, these are players that you could argue, you know, you'll see rumors in the papers about them leaving. I wouldn't let them go. Kivior, I think, is going to be interesting because I wouldn't let him go in January, but he might angle to go and get more game time. I'm not sure, man. It's a jarring one. Couple more questions before I let Egal get out of here, people. Lads, are the reports about Edu and Victor Gyökeres? Sorry, lads, are the reports true about Edu and Gyökeres' agent? I haven't seen that. I'd hope it'd be right, but I wouldn't expect anything in January.
I don't expect a club to sign a Victor Gyökeres in January because it would take us at least a month or two to try to change our style to fit in a different type of striker.
And surely it's the release clause or nothing, like in January for Sporting. They're saying activate the release clause, or we're not trying to do deals. That doesn't
really change much for us right now, does it?
I want a striker, so yeah, it would change a lot. Take nothing away from Kai Havertz, but it don't really move the needle. I'm more concerned about midfield, if I'm honest with you, because I think Partey's form's been great. Happy with Mikel Moreno. Declan Rice is Declan Rice. But when I look at our defense, we've got great long-term options, as you said earlier. We've got the right age profile in the final third. Midfield, considering Edu and Mikel Arteta were midfielders, I need to see some more youth, some more legs in there.
You sell Jesus to Saudi. That's the way I see us doing something. I don't see us doing something with the squad current construction. If we were to sell Jesus, I've been saying this since the summer, that would open the door for a 200K a week wage to come into this team. And that's potentially where we could make a big shakeup in the January. But unless we make a shakeup in sales in January, I don't see us going and adding a major signing.
This is it. I just can't see it. And if you're Sporting, you got to remember, Sporting don't have to care about Arsenal. They're trying to accomplish whatever they're trying to accomplish. Naturally, January, if they sell Gyökeres, they have to go and find a new guy. So it's release clause or nothing. I don't think Arsenal are going to be queuing up to pay that release clause. Not that I'm saying they wouldn't, but naturally in business, just because you have the money, don't mean you want to pay it. You want to do negotiations. And we all know Arsenal is kind of dragged out. Even if, you know, like you said, we don't always know our first choice target. Sometimes we wake up and we've signed someone, but then you see the think pieces come out about how we was talking for months and he wanted to sign and all of that kind of jazz. So I'm not sure. A couple more questions because Graham, because I got Graham coming on later. Egal has some things to say. They want to know your opinion on Graham Souness's take on Arsene Wenger. I don't know if you've seen it. I've offered
Graham
my thoughts.
Souness is a dinosaur, and he needs to put respect on
Sour, man.
name. Personally, he is the definition of some of the people in the media who just try to bait us. He tries to rage bait people into replying, and you know what? Sometimes we fall for it, but overall,
sometimes we always fall for it, man.
What career does he have to be insulting Arsene Wenger like that? I know his footballing career was great, but was his managerial career that great?
Done his thing in Scotland. Other than that, he's got no leg to stand on to target Arsene Wenger. And when you actually read Souness's comments, for me, he just sounds angry that Arsene Wenger, I think Arsene Wenger didn't really give him the time of day, because he kept saying every time I played him, I've never had a conversation with him. I don't know if he's a footballing man. What's the one thing that they used to criticize Arsene Wenger for? Even Sir Alex Ferguson used to say, I had horses and wine and stuff like that. Arsene Wenger just lived for football. So you don't know the man. As you said, it's rage baiting. It's jarring. It's proper jarring. My last question. Go on.
Jesus Zinchenko can go.
I would have let them go in January, you know. Zinni, I'm more likely to let him go. I think we have to keep the squad. I think uncomfortable conversations need to be had about Gabriel Jesus if his sentiment doesn't change. But I'm not a fan of getting rid of players in January because we haven't got the biggest of squads. Even like now, I know some Arsenal fans, football can be very mundane, but some Arsenal fans are sitting there and saying, you know, we don't maybe need Odegaard as much as we thought we needed him, which is quite crazy. My last question for you, because I know you got to go and look after the little one, man. Obviously, the international break's about to be done. I think of our next 7 games, we've got 5 away from home. How are you generally feeling about it? Got a lot of football.
I looked at the schedule. I'm only worried about the Inter game. Everything else, I'm relatively comfy. Liverpool at home, Shakhtar, Bournemouth, Preston. Newcastle is going to be a little tough, but I'm not too concerned. Inter is going to be tough. Chelsea, we should, 9 times out of 10, we should be able to slow down Chelsea's attack.
We need to be able to play better than we did last year at Stamford Bridge.
Yeah, definitely.
Liverpool concerns me just because the last couple of games at the Emirates has been a bit of a tough one on the heart, man.
But that's Liverpool. That's what they are. It's always going to be tough. They're the second best team in this league. They're the third best team in this league. But Newcastle, Inter, Chelsea, that 3 games right there in a row is going to be tough. But the Inter game is, if there's a loss in any of these games, it's the Inter game. I don't see too many losses in this.
How do you feel about Sporting? Because our last 2 trips to Portugal in European competition, it's been a bit, yeah.
Worst case scenario, a bore 1-1 draw.
Gyökeres audition. You never know.
Oh, true.
The lights are on, boy. But I agree with you. I think, you know, for me, I think every game's difficult. I think we should be beating Bournemouth, but I think Areola plays good football. It's going to be a difficult test on Saturday under the lights. We should be getting through that. Shakhtar the next. With the greatest of respect to Shakhtar, there's not too many easy games in the champs, and I'm not saying that's easy. Need to win.
Are you going to that game? I might see you if
I don't know. I'm flirting with it. You know, I'm flirting with it. I know they're going to miss me doing watch-alongs, but I'm flirting. Liverpool's a tough game. It always is, but I have confidence because I think Arsenal have earned that right. Preston, I'm sure it's going to be a difficult game, but there'll be changes. Nobody wants to go Newcastle away, but we should be winning. Badly want to win at the San Siro. Chelsea, I just need to see a better performance than last year at Stamford Bridge. Nottingham Forest, you should be winning that. Respectfully to Nottingham Forest, and kind of what we saw with Leicester and Southampton. These are the games you need to rack up the points.
If we get a result at the 10-0 off the back of beating Liverpool and Newcastle, that shows everybody we are top 5 best teams in this world right now.
And there's some big games coming thick and fast, man. Coming thick and fast. I know I said last question, but I don't want to leave someone out. Someone said, "What's your 11 for the Bournemouth game?"
Same 11 as last time. Just Trossard. Yeah, Trossard in the 10. No.
Yeah.
I have it up top.
You're not starting Mikel Moreno potentially.
No, Mikel Moreno is going to get eased in. His first start's going to be against Preston. Preston's after Bournemouth, right?
No. You got Bournemouth away, Shakhtar, Liverpool, then Preston.
You could start him versus Shakhtar. So
you don't want to do that in the champ. The games are coming fast, man. Like I just clocked. There's a couple games every couple of days. Like even the November period.
Which game would you rather start somebody at home versus Shakhtar or away versus Bournemouth? I would rather start him versus Shakhtar at home.
You know what? You're right. I would rather start him against Shakhtar.
Your home crowd energy.
Yeah. I think you're right. I think you're bang on the money. I think you're more likely to ease him in there. I would maybe flirt with Preston away, but then we're probably going to have a heavily rotated side. We're traveling away to Preston. It's going to be one of those kind of games. I kind of want Mikel Moreno to play a significant part at Newcastle away.
3-0 up versus Bournemouth and bring him on at half.
Yeah, he will definitely get minutes. I wanted. Do you know what? If there was one game I wanted to start, just as an Arsenal fan with no logic, it'd be Newcastle away, just because he's got history there. Yeah, and football's weird. He will score from a header or something in those kind of games, man.
They liked him at Newcastle. They really did. But I gotta go. This kid's crying.
Yeah. People, Gal's got to get out of here, man. He's got daddy duties. Let people know they can find you before I let you go. People, make sure you're subscribing.
Egal Talks Football, ladies and gentlemen. I'm usually live Sundays and Friday nights doing my vibes in the 6 with the crew, and I'm always around post matches, any Arsenal game, and beforehand I usually do my stuff too. You guys can check me out, Egal Talks Football. I'm literally like 10 subscribers away from getting 30K. I'd love to get that today. So
come on, people, man, that's 10 people. Smash. And one more,
I just gotta say, DG, I've been watching your channel since you had 500 subscribers back in 7 years ago.
My guy, man. So I can't even remember them days, bro. Man. Appreciate that, man.
Keep doing your thing, bro.
I appreciate that, man. People, we're gonna get out of here. He's got daddy duties. Egal, it's always lovely to have you here. Hopefully, we can get this going a bit more. Peace, bros. Peace, everybody, man. Safe.
Done.
I think